Rosie Nixon has had a sparkling and glamorous career in magazine publishing and is now editor-at-large of Hello magazine, where she's worked for well over a decade. A podcast host, yay, award-winning editor and journalist, a mother of two and certified life coach, she's now relaunched her career with her own consultancy business. A real supporter of women, she's ambassador for British women's health charity Wellbeing of Women and anti-FGM charity Educate Not Mutilate. So much reinvention in midlife, and we absolutely love it. We also love her commitment encouraging kindness in life and online, with her motto being, kindness is your superpower. Welcome to the show, Rosie.
Hi, Michelle and Liz. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
It's so great to have you. We've been following you for a long time with your wonderful campaign that you started on Hello magazine. Can you tell us a bit more what made you start it?
Yeah, of course. Well, it was very much a group effort at Hello. And at the time, I was editor-in-chief. We launched the campaign in 2019. And it was a response to lots of negativity that we were seeing in the online world across our platforms, but lots of it particularly being aimed at members of the royal family. And at the time, it was the Duchess of Cambridge and the Duchess of Sussex. And there was just so much negative commentary pitting the two women against each other, bullying, sexist, sometimes racist comments. And we just thought we need to make a stand as a responsible media company that has always had kindness at our core, in the way that we approach sort of the news, that we just needed to make a stand and say that this kind of commentary wasn't welcome in our world and that we weren't happy to tolerate it. And kindness had always underpinned everything that, I did at Hello and that the team did, and we just felt like we need to make some noise about this now. And the campaign absolutely flew. It resonated with lots of people, and I think at the time as well we were seeing some behaviour in the online world and trolling and a lot of negativity and people saying things that they simply wouldn't say to somebody to their face if they were to see them in the street. So why was that okay just because you're behind a computer screen? So
there's a lot of keyboard warriors, aren't there?
Keyboard warriors, exactly. Yeah.
Well, how did you find that other people in the media reacted to this kindness campaign? Because, I think it's probably fair to say that in the world of journalism, it's somewhat cutthroat. It's not necessarily known for fuzzy edges. Was it Martin Lewis who once said, wouldn't it be lovely to have more good news reported on the 10 o'clock news or something? How did they all react to this push from you?
Well, do you know what? We weren't too bothered about what anybody else thought, because at Hello, we've always been very proud and protective of our kind stance. And so I certainly felt not actually too bothered, but we knew that it resonated very, very well with the people that we featured on our pages. Lots of celebrities supported our campaign, and so did members of the royal family and the royal households. And our audience did as well. And, those that are our loyal Hello audience and readership responded very warmly to this campaign and felt that we were a media brand that they could really invest in, because we were putting a marker in the sand and saying this is something that we expect from everybody that interacts with our platforms.
That is fair, totally fair. And in terms of mental health as well, it's been proved that if you are kind, it has so many benefits for you as a person. Your heart health, your optimism, protecting you against depression. I'm guessing you've done a lot of... the rise in oxytocin.
Yes. Your body actually has, a physical reaction to an act of kindness. And the great thing about kindness is that it always comes back to you. It gives back as much as you give out. So when we perform a kind act to somebody, not only is it lovely for the person on the receiving end of that act, but it makes us feel so good as well.
Oh yeah, I think when you give a gift to someone, I prefer to give than take. And it sounds strange, but I don't bother celebrating birthdays and things. I just love it.
And when you get it right.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I don't always get it right.
Oh, it's so satisfying, isn't it?
It
When
is,
you
yeah.
know that you've got the perfect gift for somebody and you can't wait to see their face
I
when
can't wait
you
to give it to
hand
them. I
it
always give it too
over.
early. Yeah, I often give mine too
Yeah,
early because I'm like, oh, she's going to open it now.
it's
But it,
so true. It's the best feeling.
yeah.
Well, how about back to basics? What would you actually define as kindness?
It's a
Oh,
good
interesting
question.
question. Yeah. Well, kindness can mean lots of things for lots of different people, but it's a physical thing, but it's also a feeling as well. And of course, there is lots of different ways to interpret kindness. There's kindness to ourselves and compassion and self-compassion, and then there's kindness to others, and there's kindness to other things like kindness to our planet. Sustainability and environmental concerns are so huge right now. So there are practical things we can do, but it's about showing compassion and empathy for others.
Mm.
It's what you're doing is I mean, it's something. If you don't change something now, it's the kids. They're not going to, be kind because you're saying about online trolling. It's just become the fact that they can do it. That's what scares me. They
Yeah.
think it's natural and it's okay to do it when it's not.
No, and we have to model kind behaviour so that our
Exactly.
children can learn it because we're not born empathetic, we're not born kind. So it's completely a learned behaviour. And that's partly why I wrote the Be Kind book, because I thought the more that we can see the words be kind, it's just that little daily reminder, isn't it? Because the way we react to any situation, obviously, we always have a choice. So if somebody does something to you that perhaps you weren't expecting, or even barges into you, I was on a packed tube train yesterday, and it was really hard not to feel like annoyed by people sort of sticking their elbows into you. And I just thought, okay, remember, Rosie, you've written the Be Kind book. Just be kind, And you think, actually, yes, because we never quite know what is going on in somebody else's world at any given time.
So true.
And we all have had off days, and often they are a result of bigger things going on in our lives. So if we make that decision and we constantly remind ourselves, I could do with it tattooed on my wrist or something sometimes, or because then we remember that we always have a choice. We don't have to agree with somebody,
But we have to
but we can always
understand,
be kind
yeah,
to them.
and be kind. In your book, you've got wonderful quotes and contributions from an array of your amazing connections. Are there any standouts in there that when you think of your book, you think that's what it's all about? Somebody said
Yeah.
something and it really resonated.
Yeah, I think there's a number of quotes in the book about your inner voice and how to sort of work on being your own champion. I think it was Andrea McLean actually gave a quote along that so often, and growing up, she talked about being a teenage girl, growing up as a young girl. We are so often our own worst enemies. And I remember feeling so paranoid about all kinds of things as a teenage girl, but actually the negative self-talk was partly driving that, feeling that I'm not good enough, or I don't look right, or you don't fit in with the in crowd. So much negativity. So I think that really stood out to me, and tips around sort of how to improve that inner voice, I think it was really powerful.
I think,
God, can you hear
and
that noise?
yeah, what is that?
Oh God, there's a plasterer in the room next door. I did ask him to be quiet. Should I just go and remind him?
It'd be good. I
Is
thought
that going to be a
you had
pain?
a large
Yeah.
mouse in the room.
Oh no, it's like it's all been going off today. Honestly, this is the second podcast I've recorded today, so I got him to be quiet for that and the Instagram one.
You're not
Let me
paid
just
by
go
the
and
hour, are
say to
you?
him, can he do a different wall? Hold on one sec.
Yes, I want to bring that up. I think we can go do some of these things in the outro or the intro.
Right, he's going to do a different wall. Sorry, I hope you can edit that bit out.
We can edit, no problem at
Or we
all.
can find someone to do it.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So yeah, I think I love your book because it's very approachable and it's fun. You obviously have a real thing with colour because everything about you seems to be very colourful.
Do you
your
know
Instagram
what?
and your
It
website,
does.
it's gorgeously
Yeah,
colourful.
it makes such a difference to me. I discovered colour with fashion a while ago now, like a number of years ago, because I found this brand called Ingenue. And randomly, I just went into a shop in Clapham one day and I saw these clothes and they were so joyfully colourful, and they do jumpsuits and all kinds of things. So they
Yeah.
kind of got me into, and their motto is like a life in colour. They got me into it, and it really does have such an impact on my mood.
Oh yeah,
So
we
I love colour.
wear a lot of Kettlewell, and we're partnered with Sarah
Yes.
Haran, which is really cool because they do the
Oh,
nicest
lovely!
handbags.
Yes, of course
I
they
know.
do. Yeah, I've just got
That-
one of her handbags. It's beautiful.
Oh, such a pop of
we love
colour.
them.
But I digress.
Yes.
I could go down that alley for a long
But you
time.
know what? That is being kind to yourself, though. It's kind of like it's being kindness as well. It's all about being properly authentic, in touch with your authentic self. And I think I know that there are certain things that I can do that are going to help me. And if I get up in the morning and put a black dress on, then that isn't going to help my mindset. I know that deciding instead to put on, a colourful shirt like I'm wearing today, or a dress, or a red or a vibrant colour, that is going to help me, give me one of the tools that I need to be more successful in that day.
It's so true, isn't it? You always talk about wearing colour.
Very much. If I don't have a bright top on, I do. As you said, well, I don't wear black anyway. But a navy, you don't feel quite as bubbly.
No. And I love the
No.
way we have coordinated for our
Yeah, well, we
YouTube
have.
viewers. We've got exactly the same colours on, the three of us, the pink and the
not be
blue.
quite the same.
Yeah, no, we're wearing like
Well, I've got my cozy slipper socks on as well, and that's the beauty of working from home. Yeah,
Well, I'm wearing my
glamour from the waist up.
baggy leggings because I came from Pilates, but they're so baggy now. 'cause
but
I've
they're
lost
baggy.
weight.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress again.
You got that one in, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, your book was actually, isn't it being used in a school to teach as a model?
Yeah, I was really excited to learn. Yeah, a schools program in Devon have used it. They did a trial, I think, earlier this year, and it's being picked up again for next year. So for teenage girls, so girls going through their GCSE years, to sort of help them again to think about self-compassion at an earlier age, and being able to support themselves to be as successful as they can during what is quite a stressful period, isn't it? The first time that you
But also kind of a
cover
bitchy period.
exams, and
Yeah.
it
Right?
is. It is tough, really is, for so many reasons, and hormones all over the place as well, aren't they? Yeah, so
It'd
there
be
are lots of
nice if that
practical
was taught
tips.
as a subject in schools, kindness. Like,
Yeah.
you're so right. We need the role models. We need that, but we also need to teach them in schools.
Well,
I think
there
it'd
is a movement actually that is trying to get the KQ introduced. So that's like instead of your IQ, your kindness quota. Yeah, which I
it.
think is such a great idea.
Because they do a bit more about EQ now, don't they? As well, that they assess that, and which is good, because if you're not as intelligent, some people aren't.
No,
if you've got the EQ, which
but
is
your
just
emotional intelligence.
so much.
Yeah,
but I like that
exactly.
KQ as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Another famous celebrity, very sadly, was trolled, and people were so unkind to her, and that was Caroline Flack. And of course, the hashtag Be Kind was huge around the time of her unfortunate death. Did you know her? Did you observe from afar how the press were treating her and social media were treating her? It must have hurt so much.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, no, I didn't know her, but I know lots of people that did, and sort of moved in some of the similar circles. And obviously, yeah, her death was just horrific and so tragic, when it probably, shouldn't have been that way. But yeah, seeing the treatment, I think sometimes it's easy for people to forget that we're all human beings. With the same emotions and the same feelings, and we can all get hurt. And if you're in the public eye, obviously you're putting yourself forward, and there are lots of perks and benefits to that and lots to be grateful for, but it does mean that you're opening yourself up to perhaps sort of more criticism as well as more fans as well. And I think if you're going through a very tough time emotionally and not feeling particularly strong as a person, or got a strong support network around you at a time, you're very vulnerable. And sadly, she was. And I do think some of the treatment was too much. You know, it's too much for somebody to bear, which is why, I mean, I don't hesitate. Thankfully, I'm in a very supportive, kind, lovely environment in the online world. But if I occasionally I do see some negativity, and I don't hesitate in blocking or muting those accounts that are not benefiting my own mental health. I mean, sadly, I think sometimes we have to do that and put up our own boundaries to say that isn't welcomed in my world.
I know Shirley Ballas recently said she just couldn't take social media anymore because the unkind comments that were on her account, and has given it to, you know, another person to handle, to filter, so that she only sees the more positive stuff. That's so understandable, isn't it? So that brings me really to saying, I mean, are you involved in any of the push towards litigating and making it a punishable offence when people become keyboard warriors and troll, and it's hate speak, it's
That's exactly what it is.
it is hate
speak.
speak.
It is. Well, and I do think that the social media platforms have a strong responsibility there. Obviously, you know, Britain with the online safety bill getting passed, Britain is starting to lead the way in that area, but there is still a lot more to be done. I know that the Hello Digital team are currently working on some campaigns in that space. So obviously we want to use our platforms to do what we can to help amplify the good and to campaign, you know, for greater protection, especially for young people online who haven't got the skills to be able to handle it, or the know-how or the confidence to be able to turn off that negativity, or know how to do that. So yeah, there are definitely plans afoot at Hello, and we're really proud and protective of our stance, and that looks set to continue. Yeah.
Well, bringing it back to Hello magazine, which you have changed careers in, reinvention. What does editor at large actually mean?
Well, it means, that I have effectively left Hello to set up my own business. So Hello are, I suppose, one of my clients, because I've still got a really great, strong relationship there. I'm so thankful for the time that I had at Hello. You know, 15 and a half years was a huge part of my career, working up to be editor-in-chief there. And I loved it, you know, for years and years. I just felt like I had the best job in the world. And then we grow, don't we, as people? And it gets to a stage sometimes where the things that were working for you once are not working as well anymore. And that's okay. Like, quitting doesn't have to be a negative thing. And thankfully, I actually said to my boss, who's the owner of Hello over in Madrid and our CEO where he's based, that we should congratulate ourselves for navigating this time, because potentially it can be quite explosive. It's difficult to navigate, isn't it? We're not always equipped to have those hard conversations. But we've managed to navigate it really well. And I think it was Gwyneth Paltrow, wasn't it, who first talked about a conscious uncoupling when she and Chris Martin split. And it's sort of been my conscious uncoupling from Hello. So I'm no longer staff, but I have a special relationship with the brand, which is mutually beneficial. I'll continue to host my podcast In a Good Place for Hello, because I feel very passionately about that. And it's lovely to have those special conversations with people in the public eye. And I'll continue to champion the brand, like the conversations we're having today, talking about my experience there. But personally, I just felt ready to embark on my next chapter before it was going to be too late to do that. Although I don't believe it's ever too late to do anything, to reinvent, and that we shouldn't be defined by our age. But the timing felt right for me to give something else a go. So at the moment, I do feel slightly reborn. It's very exciting. I'm trying new things. I did a coaching course earlier this year, which I loved. studied with Optimus Coaching Academy to get a diploma in life coaching, and met a whole new group of people doing that, which felt great for building self-confidence and just going back to school a bit. I had such a strong hankering to learn again. I've got more time to be around for my children, to do the school pickups and to not be constantly sprinting for trains to get back in the nick of time to put them to bed. It just felt like this isn't right for me anymore now. Although, each to their own. I think what's right for me is not necessarily right for somebody else. And I've got more time for writing my books. So this
Your
third
books.
novel, well, fourth novel actually, the third one in the Stylist series, I've been trying to write for the last 2 years and just wasn't getting anywhere because I had no headspace and no creativity really. I felt that creativity needs some breathing room. And I just didn't have that in my life. So I wanted to consciously put that back in, although there still seems to be not much time for novel writing, but I'm going to really try and carve it out. So I feel really happy. I feel a lot healthier. I feel that the balance is there a lot more. And the coaching course really helped with self-awareness around, how to notice the signs if the balance does feel out. And now I have some tools that I can use to bring it back.
Well, congratulations on finding life balance. Like, whoa, that's good for you. And you've done it so much in the public eye. Yeah, but I mean, you're role
it is a
modeling
work
again.
in progress.
Yeah, you're starting.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, you're
well,
role modeling how to read.
to me.
We'll edit this bit out. Just wanted to say what a wonderful role model you
how
are.
to reinvent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I don't claim to have got it all right, and it did take me being on the brink of burnout over a year ago to actually get there. To think actually now sort of my body is telling me you need to do something about this, but also again going back to self-compassion and kindness and that inner voice, not to ignore this little voice in my head that kept thinking, oh, I don't know if this is working as well as it once did. And I sort of fought that for so long, thinking, but I should be so grateful I've got this job and everything's great seemingly on social media, but actually if it's really not how you're feeling in your heart or in your core, then you need to listen to that voice.
You do.
You have to be honest to yourself.
Yeah.
Do
If you were to give yourself 3 acts of kindness, what might they be?
Well, it's interesting. Often kindness all comes back to the things that are the most simple and they're free. And the thing that makes me really happy is just going out. My husband and I managed to go out together this morning for a nice little, well, it's sort of a half run, half jog, half walk. After we dropped the kids at school, we live in Surrey, sort of very near the countryside, and we just went for a 20-minute sort of ramble together, chatting, and I just felt so happy. The sky was blue. I knew I had a nice day ahead, having lots of chats with lovely people like you, and that was a real act of kindness, just that we took that 20 minutes together. And then he went off to London for his work and I settled in here. But it was a really important part of the day. And I think fitting that in, we could have easily said, oh, we haven't got enough time. But it's quite easy to find 20 minutes or 15 minutes here and there just to do something for yourself. And I often do that on my own as well. And sometimes have to make sure that I don't put my AirPods in and be tempted to make that call to somebody or get back to something or feel like we constantly have to be doing.
It's called silent walking, apparently. We used to call it walking. But apparently it's got a name, silent walking.
It's got a name now. It's a thing.
That's ridiculous.
And I think silent walking, I mean, we do often feel that we have to be busy and always on. And sometimes the best way to be kind to yourself is to just switch it all off. And the world's not going to disappear, or you're not really going to miss anything. but it will do you so much good.
And
And just to
connection.
get that oxygen flowing like a bubble bath sort of in your brain then leads to greater productivity. So it's a win-win situation. So I think, yeah, getting outside into nature really is my number one.
Yeah.
And add in a
Did you want
glass of
three
wine and an
things?
ice cream, and I think I've got three.
Exactly. I know. And a chocolate. I am a bit of a chocoholic as well. Do like some dark chocolate or
Oh, why not?
treats. It's all about balance, isn't it, really? Yeah. And a glass of fizz when you really fancy one is just great as well.
Oh, well, look, cheers to everything that you're doing and, for being such a great ambassador for women in the well-being of women and all the work that you do for charity. How can people find out more about you? Where do they find you on Instagram and your website?
Oh, well, they can find me on Instagram at Rosie J Nixon. So do give me a follow. Come and say hello and comment on things because I love reading the comments on there. Through
If
my
they're kind.
books, obviously, if they're kind, yeah. Otherwise, I might have to mute you. So, yeah, if you're going to be kind on the online space, and through my podcast, it's a Hello podcast called In a Good Place, and we're launching the next season next week. So I'm really excited about that. Got some great guests lined up, and that's a great way to listen to a more long form conversation about mental well-being and self-compassion.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Loved talking to you.
It's been lovely.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for being so kind and inviting me on.